What's good? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering a very common topic on my channel, which is how to wheelie a snowmobile. What we're going to cover today is the right snow conditions, the right sled setup, and the right body position in order to wheelie a snowmobile. With what we talk about in today's video, just about any snowmobile out there should be able to wheelie, especially any modern snowmobile. But the overall best snowmobiles for wheeling are something with an 800 or bigger, like 800, 850, and you want a 146 to a 154. I have found that the 146 wheelies the best, 154 is a close second. Anything bigger than that, like a 165, 174, it'll still do it. It's just a lot more difficult to keep it up and get it up. 121 to 136 is, they'll get it up pretty quick, but it's hard to keep it up because of the track length. So if you're looking to buy a dedicated sled just to pop the front end up, look for like an 800 or 850 146. Now the sled you're used to seeing me wheelie was my 2019 Pro MK 850 155, but there is a new beast that I'll be riding this season, and this is my 2022 Ski-Doo Summit 850 154. Now the main difference between this sled and my Pro is this sled has an adjustable limiter strap, and we're going to cover that in today's video, what the adjustable limiter strap does and why it's so important to wheelies. But before that, I want to get into the proper snow conditions to wheelie a sled. So there are two types of snow that I like to do wheelies on, and I think it works best for me. Number one is that more crusty kind of used snow where you get a bunch of powder, it warms up, freezes overnight, and if you break through it, there's still powder below it, but the top is like a thin layer of crust. Why that is so good is when you pin it, your track is going to dig down through that crust layer, sink below it and into the powder snow below it, and that is going to allow you to keep the front end of your sled up. Not only does the sled get up quicker like that, but because it's able to trench below that and dig the track down deep into the snow, it is going to keep the front end of the sled up and keep it going, and you'll be able to ride the wheelie out for a pretty decent amount of time. Second type of snow I love to wheelie in is deep powder. Now I'm talking not just like a foot of snow on grass, because you'll dig through that in no time, hit the grass, and you're really not going to get that front end to pop because your sled is not trenching. I'm talking like you have a foot or two base of crust snow beneath it, and you have a foot or two of powder on top of it. So again, what that allows the sled to do is trench the top layer of snow and then bite and trench into the layer of snow below that, and that keeps the front end of the sled up, keeps the back end trenched down, and you're able to ride it out as long as you want. Now, if you try to wheelie on just basically like 6 inches of snow on grass or just frozen ground, or you try to do it on hard packed trails, yes, you will be able to get the front of the sled up. The issue with that is there is no snow on a hard packed trail or hard packed ground for it to trench on. So yes, you will get the front end up, but it will not be able to keep it up. So I do not recommend, if you're trying to ride wheelies out, riding them on trails or hard packed ground. Now that we have covered the best type of snow and the best place to learn to wheelie, let's cover the sled setup. Like I mentioned before, this 2022 Summit has an adjustable limiter strap, whereas my 2019 Pro did not. The reason that is such a big deal is what the limiter strap does is it limits how far the skid can come away from the sled. When the skid is farther away from the sled, that means that you are going to have more front end lift. If the skid's closer to the sled, that means you're going to keep the front end more planted. We're going to adjust the limiter strap to keep the skid far away from the sled so that we could do wheelies. One thing to take note of about the limiter strap is not all snowmobiles have adjustable limiter straps. Ski-Doo happens to have one. I know some of the pros don't. Once I show you where the limiter strap is and what it is, take a look on your sled and see if you have one, because like I said, not all of them have it. After we adjust the limiter strap, we're going to go ahead and adjust the center track shock on this sled as well, because that plays a big role in wheelies. Come under your sled on the skid, up towards the front of the sled, you will see this strap, and this right here is your limiter strap. This one is pretty tight, actually. I have not touched it yet, so what we're going to go ahead and do, go ahead and loosen this thing up so we can get this skid right here farther away from the sled so we could do more wheelies. What we're going to use for that is a 10 mil socket and a 10 mil box wrench, and we're going to go ahead and loosen this bad girl up right here. To get that loosened up, you'll be able to get this nut off of the bolt, and you'll be able to pull this bolt out. And what we're going to do here is put it on the loosest setting possible. So we're going to put it in this hole here. This one has to go through here. There's only one hole on there. Slide that through. And then we are going to do one hole down from the top. So you got 2 holes here at the top. We're not going to put it in this one, but we're going to put it in this one. Just like that, and you can see that limiter strap is extra loose. All we gotta do is put our washer and nut combo back on, tighten it down, and our limiter strap is set for wheelies. Our nut bolt combo is all tight and our limiter strap is nice and loose, so we are ready to rock on that. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and adjust the center track shock, and after that our setup on the sled is 100% complete. Now in order to adjust the center track shock, luckily Ski-Doo gives us this tool to adjust our shocks since they're not the quick adjust ones. We're going to go ahead and just tighten this right here with this tool, And we're gonna go maybe 3-4 turns, see how it feels. I'm not too sure yet because I'm not 100% sure how this sled rides the way it is. But I don't want to go stupid crazy with it, so I'm just gonna go a few turns with it, tighten it up. And when we go for our first ride, we will see how we like it. Okay, that is as tight as it goes. So this center track shock is completely maxed out, because if I try to go back the other way, it will let me. So we are maxed out on the center track shock as far as stiffness goes, so we will see how that goes this season. Now that we have adjusted the limiter strap and adjusted the center track shock, this sled is 100% set up for wheelies. Now it's time for us to discuss body position and weight transfer on the sled when you are actually doing the wheelie. I'm gonna give you guys a full view of the sled and me on the sled and how I transfer and position my body on the sled when I do a wheelie. But first, I wanna walk you around it and show you where you should put your feet and where you should be leaning, and just overall the general idea of the body positioning for a wheelie. I'm standing on the sled ready to do a wheelie. My feet are gonna be as far back on these running boards as I could fit them with my boots comfortably. Now you don't want them like hanging off the back like this, because if you slip, you're gonna get your leg caught in the track and it's not gonna be good. But what you wanna do is find that position with your boots on, where your boots lock into this lip of the running board here and are held against the side of the tunnel here. And that is going to be your perfect footing position for the wheelie. When you're ready to engage in the wheelie, you want to be leaning over the front of the sled. A lot of pressure on the handlebars with your arms and your upper body. And then when you crack that throttle, you want to transfer your weight to the back of the sled, throw yourself back, and hang on tight. It's gonna make more sense when I show you guys the full body view of actually doing this, but that is a general kind of POV of how you should look when you're doing a wheelie. So here we are on the sled. Say we're about to do a wheelie, we're in position, we're in the snow we wanna be in, wherever the case may be. First step, once again, find that comfortable positioning on your running boards where your boots are locked against the lip of your running boards and also locked against the tunnel so your foot can't slide off and get caught in the track. After you get your footing position ready to go, you wanna lean over, grab your handlebars, find a comfortable grip on the handlebars where you have control of your brake and control your throttle. Now lean over the sled like this. You don't have to lean over so far like this, but put a little bit of pressure on the handlebars. Just kind of find an area where you feel comfortable and you have comfortable grip on your throttle and brake. Now you're ready to crack the throttle. What you're gonna do when you crack that throttle after you have all these steps down is crack your throttle and throw your weight back like that on the sled. You want to transfer all your body weight to the back of the sled while obviously hanging on to the handlebars. Front of the sled's gonna come up, and then it is up to you to keep it up by feathering the throttle. Once again, feet positioned on the running board, locked in, comfortable, a little bit of pressure on the handlebars, leaning over, crack your throttle, transfer all your weight back, and enjoy the ride. When you're coming down from a wheelie, sometimes it comes down nice and smooth, especially if you're in powder. You could keep this position, come down, and you'll come down like that, nice and comfortable. But if it's gonna be a rough landing, and the more you do it, the more you'll be able to tell if you're gonna have a rough landing or not. What I usually do is when I'm coming down, when I can feel the sled's ready to come down, or I'm ready to let it come down, is I will take my feet off the running boards and kind of go like this and smack my knees into the panels. Yes, it does hurt a little bit. You can get knee pads for it, but if you stay like this and you take a hard landing, you're gonna smash your face right into your handlebars, and it's gonna hurt a lot more than smacking your knees against the panels. So once again, say we're in our position, we're riding the wheelie, realize it's gonna be a hard landing. What we're gonna do is let off the throttle, and you're gonna wanna just kind of not jump, but get your feet kind of floating off the running boards and slide forward and slide your knees into the panel like this. Obviously, it's not as fluent as it's gonna be. I'd have to actually do it to show you, but the general idea is you're gonna wanna kind of absorb some of that impact yourself without the sled doing it, without you knowing it. The more you do this, the more comfortable you're gonna get. You're gonna find things that work for you and things that work best for you in the sled. You're gonna find the best snow conditions for you. It's all about practice doing wheelies on sleds. I'm by far not the best wheelier on a snowmobile, but I do know a thing or two because I've been doing it for a while. We covered the proper snow conditions to wheelie a sled, the proper snowmobile setup, and the proper body position. So there's no reason you can't go out and wheelie your sled this winter. I wish we had snow on the ground because I'd take the sled out and show you guys exactly how it's done on the sled in action. But unfortunately, we do not have snow yet, so this is gonna have to do. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys liked today's video, smash a huge thumbs up on today's video. Comment section below, let me know what you thought of today's video. If you have any more questions on wheeling a sled, if you guys are new here or you've been watching for a while and you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I've been rolling around, that's something I do. I've been rolling around, that's something